A very good afternoon to one and all. Watching us here live right now on the Srimati Sulochana Devi Singhania School YouTube live platform, a platform of the Solonians, for the Solonians, and by the Solonians. I, Agni Khataukar, with my friend Apurva Saxena, on behalf of our ISC MMC class, warmly welcomes you to the school's first ever virtual photography exhibition in which we have a series of spectacular photographs which we clicked lined for you. We mass media and communication students learn journalism, which is an integral part of mass media, where we learn photojournalism.
Under photojournalism, we learn how to develop photo essays, which is the art of telling stories through a series of photographs. This exhibition is the extension of our learning through practical experience. We were trained and guided through workshops conducted by professionals who taught us the nuances of photography. A picture is worth 1,000 words. Just so our photo exhibition showcases the stories that we wish to tell you. Keeping in mind the lockdown and the pandemic, we've had to come up with creative ideas, all under the umbrella of indoor photography. After a lot of discussion and deliberation, the four groups have finally decided to come up with themes like nature, food, fabrics, and the new normal.
So, without much ado, I would like to invite the first group to present their photo essay.
Thank you, Agni. Yes, the lockdown was indeed a very bizarre experience that was new to all of us. But it wasn't that boring, was it, Tanisha?
No, actually, it was quite an awesome experience. How could someone be bored of watching movies, reading books, cooking different delicacies, and enjoying with their families?
Yes, it was an amazing experience.
As we were told to click pictures in the four walls of our houses, we could explore a lot more than the outside world. So, shall we begin?
Sure, Tanisha. Let us see our story of the new normal and walk down that lane.
So, Sohani, wasn't that a blast from our past?
Oh, yes. All I could think of was trying new dishes and missing our local food.
I know, right? And we all know India is the land of herbs and spices.
Indeed, it is. From rasmalais to Indian donuts to fish in the east and even our simple khichdi.
I know we all love junk food, but being a South Indian, I'm always going to have a special corner for the plain sambar rice served in a banana leaf.
And on that note, let's go through some virtual food stalls. Bon appetit!
were mesmerizing, weren't they, Nandini?
Truly, Sharanya.
India is a land full of cultures, and the real colors of its beautiful portrayal of the widespread diversity are evident in the Indian fabric. Thus, we thought of giving it the photographic edge to show that each fabric has its own story. After all, a picture is worth 1,000 words.
Having said that, let's explain on how the lockdown and the photography exhibition. Let's explain how the lockdown and the photography exhibition was just to look into our wardrobes and search for different available fabrics, thus increasing our knowledge to identify them and to understand the level of intricacies.
We worked our way by focusing on the aesthetic theme, the Indian vibe, and kept it basic too.
So, Sharanya, let's go and look into the gallery of fabulous fabrics.
Wasn't that simply spectacular? But honestly, Akshata, I gotta say this. On the 31st of December 2019, I never thought that the pace of the world would slow down this drastically in 2020, especially because of a pandemic.
Agree. I believe with everything that's going on, people should really take a step back and enjoy life. In the words of an unknown poet who has blissfully summarized this emotion, enjoy the earth, for I love the earth and everything that lives. I love the plants and the beauty each one gives. I love the animals and fishes at sea, for I am a part of Mother Earth and it is a part of me.
Hence, our group chose the theme of nature, keeping in mind its rejuvenating effect. So, without further ado, let's embark on a mesmerizing journey together. And that brings us at the end of our journey. I would now like to invite our guests for the day, Mr. Shubroto Ghosh and Mr. Arun Gupta, to this platform. For Mr. Shubroto Ghosh, photography was always a hobby, right from his school days. After studying art at the Vishwabharati Shantiniketan, he joined the FTII, from where he graduated in cinema. He has been working in the film and video industry in Bombay and Calcutta for the last 36 years in the fields of editing, art direction, photography, graphics, music, etc. He has also worked as a film editor in Doordarshan. He has received a highly prestigious ambassadorial Fulbright scholarship from the USA. We welcome you, sir, to this platform. Now, I would welcome our other guest, Mr. Arun Gupta. Mr. Arun Gupta is an alumnus of the prestigious Film and Television Institute of India, Pune, specializing in motion picture photography. After passing out from the FTII, he has worked as a cinematographer and as a producer. Arun Sir has to his credit more than 300 projects, which include television commercials, documentaries, corporate films, and music videos. He has worked as a DOP for shows like Bollywood Business and Starry Nights Gen Y. He has also shot two Bengali short films. As a producer, other than television commercials, corporate films, documentaries, and music videos, he has also produced 176 episodes of a show for Zoom channel called The Art of Living Show. He is the curriculum coordinator for the Vincent Academy of Film and Media in Goa and also a guest faculty for the Xavier's Institute of Communications and other such prestigious institutes in India. Arun Sir was also one of our mentor teachers and has taken us through a photography workshop. We welcome you, sir, to this platform. I would also like to invite my friends Adrian, Dia, and Tanisha to join me here. Sh- Shubroto, sir, I gotta state this. One of the main hindrances we faced while clicking pictures of the stormy nights, I was wondering how to capture the lightning and storm in all its perfection. Could you please suggest ways to go about it?
See, there are in the cameras nowadays, we get frames per second facility, okay, in which you can just click and it'll take a number of frames together. So usually it's 8 or 12 or the number of frames, the more expensive the camera is. So that is one way. The other way is if it is very dark and chances of exposure are not too much, that means you can keep your shutter on for a long time. So if you use the bulb setting and you open your shutter, that is click and let your shutter be open for your seconds or the, when you are, okay, now there has been a gap and most likely there's going to be some lightning just now. So just before that you click it, and whilst your shutter is open, you might get a flash. Then the problem might be that if it is too bright, the other things will be exposed, overexposed. But because you talked about a storm in the night, so it's fine, safe. There's almost no exposure throughout the other seconds of your open aperture, open shutter. So that frame will come, and whatever add to the overall exposure, which is good because you don't want it to be all black. You want some detail. The other, I'll give you another nice tip over here. What you can do, which I've done and it works out brilliantly, that is keep some good broad flashlights ready with you. So I literally painted and shaded my landscape with that light. So what I did, I'll tell you. I set my camera up on a stand, obviously, it'll have to be on a stand. I looked at it and decided that this is all merging in the black and I want some separation over here. Maybe this tree needs to be visible a little more, or maybe the wall of the house, but everything is dark, okay? So they are not being exposed on their own. So what I did was I clicked, and whilst it was exposing, I quickly with the torch, I just like I shaded the trees and the wall with the torchlight and quickly moved it away. Not for too long, just a little. So what in effect has happened is, whilst your shutter is on and it's all black, this has received some light and some exposure has happened. This has received whatever light, if you've given it more, if you've given it less, it has received that much light and it's got some exposure. And then you get your flash, maybe. Or maybe it's the moon or whatever. So ultimately, when you have your picture, it's not all just flat black and one flash. Now you have all the modeling, and you see there's a tree here, there's a house here, there's a wall here, or a pen, whatever. Even if it could be a statue also. That also I've done. It works out brilliantly. Please try it out.
My question to you, Arun sir, is that we often buy food items after looking at their photographs and tend to ignore good food items because they are plain. Sir, could you suggest a few methods and tips so that we can click plain looking food items in a way that they appeal our visual senses?
There's a trick that, yeah, I think, I think it's for you.
So my experience with any kind of food lighting is a very simple thing. So I always tell all students who are trying out photography is one of the simplest tricks of making something look nice is to have a nice good backlight. And now, since I'm telling you this, observe any commercial that comes on air which is showing you any food items. You will suddenly find that there is a nice backlight separation that separates out each element which is kept. And then one of the other things that you can see by turning how it is lit and see if you can bring out the texture of the food item. More importantly, the lighting has to be a little more contrasty, good backlight, and in a way that certain parts of that item are highlighted. And obviously, there are other tricks that we use, but like if it's a cold or a hot item, I usually, in a natural way, try to see if it's still hot when you're trying to shoot it, so that little whiffs of smoke coming off, catching a gleam of light, all those little elements. And one of the biggest things is how it is plated. The presentation is very important. However good it is, whatever the lighting is, if your plating is not good, it won't look nice. So plating, lighting, texturing, these are some elements that I think if you add in your photograph, it's going to take it to the next level.
During the course of clicking one good picture, we had to face many technical difficulties. So my question is to Shubhrata sir. Sir, could you please explain us how can we bring out the real essence of any fabric?
See, shooting fabric is probably amongst all the topics you all have chosen, the more difficult of them. That is because it's very minute. It is tactile, something that tactile meaning something that you can feel by touching. And it's flat. In a sense, it's flat. But among the pictures that you all have taken, I've noticed there were some which had a texture woven into it. A tonal texture, that is maybe two colors or similar tones, things like that. But you might have also noticed that there are many of the textile pictures that you all have taken which could be anything. It could be paper, it could be cloth, it could be silk, it could be cotton, anything. You can't make out what's happening, what material it is. It's not your fault, it's difficult, it's very difficult. One of the most important things probably for shooting textile is the lighting. The lighting and the arrangement of the material. As soon as there's a dimension, say if it's left in curves, you are able to make out the dimension, and because the curves take the light in different fashions in different areas, that helps to enhance the texture of the cloth. Now, if you add to this uh, angular light, mostly, like Sir said just now about food, where you have backlight. So if you put up angular light, it helps to enhance the texture. Another important thing which could help you all in bringing out the texture of a cloth is slight backlighting, very soft backlighting. Because what it does is, if you hold up any cloth to some light, you'll be instantly able to see the weaving in it. So if you help that by putting a very soft and if it's a fine cloth, a soft light, if it's a more thicker cloth, maybe a harder light, but a slight backlight wherever possible will help to bring out this texture. Another important thing is, I wish I could show you an example because I do have one. I had taken a picture of a silk, a short silk. What is a short? A short is a mixture of two colors. So at certain angles you see maybe blue, and in certain angles you maybe see maroon or purple. So as it moves, it changes color. So it was a material of that sort. So obviously what I did was I made it into spangles. I put it on the floor and made it into spangles. Automatically I got a lot of shades. I got the two different colors immediately coming out. Then I took one picture. It came out well, but I was not very happy with it. It was a maroon silk with blue black short. So what now I did, I took the same picture, almost the same composition. I didn't change anything. I just suppressed my exposure a little bit, about I think about half a stop or maybe one stop. It could have been one stop also. And immediately that thing just burst out. From the colors became bright, and bright in the sense, I mean deep. They became more saturated. The darks became more darker. So the modeling became even more pronounced. And the highlights, because they are highlights, they didn't get too suppressed because they have a lot of, they are throwing out a lot of light. So that remained. So immediately give it a even more shine to the whole cloth. So just by adjusting the aperture just a little bit, it gives you a different result altogether. So that these I think are some of the most basic. And another thing, maybe natural light sometimes helps a lot. You don't always have to use artificial light. If you go out into bright diffused outdoor light, you can probably without much trouble shoot textile.
So my question is to Arun sir. So as we were told to do indoor photography, we often face the problem of lighting. Like we also don't have enough resources to like light up a space or dim it or do something like that. So how can we light up a space indoors and get the perfect click?
Okay. So my suggestion to you is lighting is very subjective. You need not always look. So what is your subject and how you look at it is what mainly is your photograph, and accordingly is the lighting. So I can, I mean, if I was given the chance to do it, I'll stand next to a window where I can have side lighting. I'll stand against the same window. I'll become a silhouette, or I can have a backlit. So it all depends at that point what resources you have. I mean, my saying, okay, stand next to the window, use the bulb, use a tube, is all just a suggestion because I can sit here and tell you now. When you are taking a photograph indoors, you have to see what are your immediate resources. Windows and doors are your biggest source. Sun, it's it's the biggest source that you have. Light coming through your window. Use a sun. Place a white paper neck just on the other side, and it reflects and bounces back and fills it on the darker side. If you stand against a brightly lit window, you get a silhouette. So that's more than enough. Like Shubrata sir was saying, natural light. Use natural. In case you need to augment, then you look for a resource, which could be an LED bulb. Most of our houses now are using LEDs, which are white or blue. So we call it as white light. Now that is very close to what the sunlight is. So try and use it. Ratios is something that you will have to learn and practice and figure out whether filling in is more required more or less, you know. So yeah, that's how I would go about doing it.
I just wanted to add something here, just if you don't mind. Being journalism students, mass communication, your aim should be to use the least amount of resources necessary. Try to do away with whatever you can and use whatever is available. And you get very good results with that, no problem. You don't need to have this, that, and the other, too many things. If you do, then you add something maybe. So.
Absolutely, absolutely true. Actually, it's how to use your resources widely, what is there. In fact, at times I have realized adding too much makes it worse. Sometimes you have to just be minimalistic, cut off more light, you know. If you read and you are really going to get into photography, there's something called negative film. You actually cut off light and picture improves to quite a large extent. So it's not always adding that will help. Sometimes using less and cutting off also helps.
Yes, sir, you're absolutely right. Shubrata sir and Arun sir, we would like to thank you for this short discussion. And your words have been extremely informative, and we will keep all your pointers in mind. I would like to thank you for joining us on this platform. I would also like to thank my friends for joining me here.
We would also like to thank you very much. And thank you for giving us such a nice presentation and inviting us for this exhibition.
Most welcome, sir. It was our pleasure.
Thank you all and all the best.
Thank you.
There is a lot more than what meets the eye. Just like that, our photo exhibition was just the end result. A lot has happened in the process of bringing this to you. So coming up next is a fun mashup of our journey, followed by a collage of the 38 ISC MMC students of the 2021 batch.
Finding the correct perspectives.
Was adjusting the shadows while clicking with glass items.
Capturing the minor details of the plant.
Clicking a good photo in horrible lighting.
To shoot the floating clouds in sunlight.
Capturing the nature in action.
Finding the perfect angle.
Filming indoors.
Probably getting him to cooperate.
Really tempting. I totally loved it.
It was super exciting.
The shooting was really fun.
Completely amazing. It was thrilling. Amazing, and I completely enjoyed it.
It was a great experience.
I was tense.
It was an amazing experience.
Portraying Indian ethnicity. Being creative.
The vibrant colors of the fabric really made me happy.
What was the best part of the shooting? Well, pestering my parents.
I made my mother drape saris one after the other.
Got to discover my own camera way better.
Photography is all about patience, imagination, and practice.
Should pay attention to our thoughts and emotions while taking a picture.
Good photos don't come without patience.
Just make sure you know how to hold a camera.
You don't take a photograph, you make it.
Perseverance is the key to good pictures. A picture can express a lot more than words ever can.
I learned that even the smallest details in a picture carry great importance.
Photography is not easy.
This was indeed a mesmerizing experience. And now I would like to call upon Director Education and Principal, Mrs. Revati Srinivasan, to say a few words about the first virtual photo exhibition conducted at Srimati Sulochana Devi Singhania School.
Thank you very much. And it was truly a visual treat. I'd like to congratulate all the students of the ISC who have worked really hard to bring out the very first virtual photography exhibition. And I would like to thank Mr. Subrata Ghosh and Mr. Arun Gupta for spending their valuable time here. Also ensuring that they guided the students for their future photography sessions. I particularly liked the message that came that you don't need a whole lot of resources to take a good photograph. With whatever is available, you can make the best of it. And I think that's a beautiful message that came across. And as Mr. Gupta also rightly later on said in his last part, where he said that it's not only about lights, it's not about having the yellow, the white lights, also even in natural lighting, you can get the best photographs. And to me, it's like narrating a voiceless story. So every photograph that I saw, it was telling me a story that clicked with me. And I truly believe that when you can tell a story without words, and if that clicks with the listener, or if here it is a visualizer, then I think you have said a good story. You've narrated a good story, and therefore it's a good photograph. So to all of you, my dear students, I'd like to congratulate. Where there is scope for improvement, do improve. I wish to see you as great photographers someday. It's not just necessary a skill for a job or for a career, but it's also a wonderful hobby that one can have. And I'm sure that it keeps becoming the best of our friends all the time and remains as a best friend all the time. Thank you very much. And I wish to congratulate the students, but more particularly the teacher in charge, Mrs. Vajayanti, for having guided the students so well. And the invite that you have given us children is fantastic. It's beautiful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Principal Madam, for those inspiring words. You have always been a source of motivation to each one of us. You have always encouraged us to do better than our best. A sincere word of thanks to our guests, Mr. Shubhrata Ghosh and Mr. Arun Gupta, for gracing this event with their presence. This would not have been possible without all the hands that groomed us. I would like to thank Mr. Arun Gupta for taking us through the technicalities of a camera and a photograph. I would like to thank our class coordinator, Mrs. Ramapriya Ramanujam, for letting us participate in various such events and hone our skills. I would also like to thank our mass media and communications teacher, Mrs. G. Vaijayanti, for walking with us on this path of the virtual photo exhibition. While clicking a pictures requires a lot of patience and efforts, 4 of my classmates had really arranged it and portrayed our story to each one of you. Thank you, Dhwani Gala, Diya Doshi, Lavanya Mane, and Adrian Fernandez. I would also like to thank Mr. Ankit Majetia for providing us with the tech support to host this event on the YouTube Live platform. No journey is complete without the encouragement and support provided at your houses. I would like to thank all the parents on behalf of the ISC MNC class for letting us explore the world and take various such photographs. And lastly, I would like to thank each one of you for being such a wonderful audience. We hope you liked this video and session as much as we liked hosting it. Thank you and have a really great day ahead.